Well, speaking of that, Shane, there's going to be a lot of people saying that because we got Tennessee at Kentucky.
Come on now.
And the line has completely flipped, Shane. The Vols favored by 1 point on the road as of this recording. Hell, it'll probably flip back by tomorrow morning. Over under 57 points. This game kicks off at 7 o'clock Eastern, 6 o'clock Central on ESPN2. Tennessee leads the all-time series 81-26 with 9 ties. But Kentucky won last year, Shane, 34-7. That was a whooping. Mm-hmm. Who do you like in the Bourbon bet? Hell, I already know who you like, but just tell me why you like them.
Oh, my. Here's the deal. This is one of my favorite games of the year, brother, because I got a lot of Kentucky fans, I just got a lot of Kentucky friends, man. I just buddies up north. I think Ollie, I think he was one of our first fans to join the podcast. I don't know how he stumbled across us, but he did. And, there's always been a soft spot with the Big Blue Nation since the beginning of this podcast. And as you know, this is Bourbon Bet, Mike. They used to do the beer barrel. They don't do that anymore, unfortunately. I still think they're transferring it back and forth under the ground there. But I think what we did is we said, you know what, enough's enough. Let's start our own. We did the Bourbon Bet. So a couple of them reached out first year, Mike. A lot of Kentucky fans thinking they just going to steamroll the Tennessee Volunteers, and it didn't work out. And there's nothing nicer than getting a knock at the door, seeing the UPS man deliver me some bourbon from up north, you know? But I'm going to tell you,
Is that
Mike,
legal? Is that even legal?
No, it's I don't know. I don't know. That wasn't me. That was a different person. But my neighbor was telling me the other day. No, I'm just kidding. But you know what's worse, Mike? Is when you get your ass stomped, because last year everybody gave up. I didn't even want to bet, but I did because I had to. Dan Pruitt, everybody was checked out. Kentucky smoked us, and there's nothing worse than having to go to the package store, finding some Tennessee whiskey, packaging it up, sending it up north. That's the whole point of this, Mike. It's those moments after this game. That's the best part. Not during. We all celebrate during the game, but after, when you're the loser, having to go out to the package store and to the delivery store, that's when you realize you hate your team even more. So, Mike, I was worried about this bet many, many weeks ago. I literally was. I was thinking Kentucky is playing some tenacious football. They can't be beat. They get in, especially after that Florida Gator game. I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna have to waste so much money sending Bourbon north. It's just. But I'm gonna tell you, Mike, the tides have changed. Kentucky was exposed during the Mississippi State game. They're not efficient when it comes to pass defense. That's pretty obvious.
Right.
The problem is, how efficient is Tennessee in stopping Kentucky offense? Because I know it's easy to say, well, load up the box, slow down these running backs, maybe, have double coverage on Robinson. Maybe that would be the thing. Let Will try to win this game. He struggled in it last week. But then, you watch that tape, and it really was moments of inches, man. I'm telling you, if Will could have drifted a few more passes, a little higher, a little lower, the outcome could have been totally different. We'd be talking about another win for Kentucky Wildcats. So this game does make me nervous, Mike, because you got both sides chirping. You got coaches chirping, you got players chirping, but you got two programs that are now expecting to win, and I'm no different, Mike, so I'm not going to beat around the bush any longer. I think Tennessee gets ahead, and they keep pouring on them points. Kentucky can't keep up because Will has showed us one thing. He cannot win a game by himself. Give me Tennessee. I don't care how many points this thing moves around. Give me Tennessee by 10 points, 38. Kentucky, 28.
Hey, 10-point win on the Bluegrass,
Oh,
Shane?
yeah, absolutely. I think it's a 17-20 point game. Then they kind of ease back into this thing. That's where I'm at. That's how confident I am in them big orange balls, Mike.
Well, you may be right, Shane. I got some good stats for you here. Tennessee leads the country running 2.89 plays per minute. They also lead the country in tackles for loss, 8.75 tackles per loss per game. Tennessee's also number 1 in the SEC in positive turnover margin in conference play. Kentucky dead last in the nation in turnover margin, minus 12. Yet, here's one important factor in this game, Shane. Kentucky and Georgia, they both have the 2 best defenses in the SEC in limiting big plays. And, that was critical in the Alabama game. That's been critical all season for Tennessee, hitting the big play. But, the more we watch Josh Heupel's offense, it's hyped up as being a passing game and a quarterback driven. To me, Shane, it's all about the running game. The running game feeds into all that. They gashed South Carolina, Missouri, some of these other teams they've played. They've just ran all over them, and that opened everything up for the pass. Yet the last couple weeks, Shane, particularly I'm thinking Alabama, and even against Ole Miss, Shane, they had a lot of trouble running that football outside of Hendon Hooker. So, that could be a real issue here against Kentucky that is pretty good on the ground, even though they gave up uncharacteristically a lot of rushing yards to Mississippi State. So that is somewhat of a concern. But, Shane, if I had to ask you off the top of your head, what is the thing that has killed Tennessee's defense more than anything other this year?
What has killed us more than anything?
Yes.
Third downs.
And those damn quarterback runs. You know what? And Will Levis is a guy that will run. Before he got to Kentucky, Shane, he had more rushing attempts than he had passing attempts in his 2 or 3 years at Penn State. So this guy will take off on you. I think that may be the X factor in this ball game, Will Levis and his legs. Because like you said, his passing is very inconsistent at the moment. I think the difference in the game, though, Shane, is going to be that BBN up there in Lexington. Kentucky's undefeated at home this season. As long as they're not turning it over left and right, I think Cousin Shane's going to be sending them packages to Kentucky come Monday. I got Kentucky 28, Tennessee 27. It's going to be a nail-biter, but Kentucky gets it done.
You said 28-27? You Morristown Honda this thing? What's
Morristown Honda.
Oh, Mike.
Because I really could see either team winning it.
Gosh, shit, Mike. I can too. And I'm not going to – I hate to admit it, but there's part of me that's like, Tennessee's going to Tennessee this thing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, you look at it and you're like, oh, well, we had the bye week. We got people coming back healthy. I mean, look at the teams we've lost to. Pitt. Okay, we should have beat them. Alabama, Ole Miss, barely. I mean, who's the other? Florida Gators. I think back when they were halfway decent, now they just kind of spiraled. So I don't know. That's the only concern I have with Kentucky is the teams that they have beaten. I mean, it's not a. I get it. It's a lot of victories, but it's not a lot of successful programs. The most successful program you played was Georgia, and you lost to them. So, and of course, everybody pretty much is going to lose to the Georgia Bulldogs. But I don't know, Mike. I keep trying to talk myself into a close game, but the more I do it, the more I just get excited about this offense, and I can't wait to throw the damn football. So we're going to see, Mike. That's one thing. You got to get the fans out of it. You hit the nail on the head. That's the X factor to me, is that crowd noise. You've seen it. You saw it in Alabama. They had a hard time down there next to the student section. So do they bounce back? Do they have these boneheaded penalties? If they don't and they get the crowd noise out of it, hey, we win the game. But if we don't, then yes, I'm going to be sending some bourbon north.